I'm 52 years old, and I am the Quality Systems Director at Meridian MedTech Solutions in Columbus, Ohio. I have held that title for 19 years. Before that, I spent 6 years at a contract manufacturing organization, learning the language of federal compliance the hard way, audit by audit, deviation by deviation, signature by signature. I know what it takes to keep a medical device company breathing. I know what kills one. This is the story of how the owner's son learned that lesson at a cost I almost didn't save him from. Meridian makes implantable cardiac monitoring devices. That sentence alone tells you everything you need to know about the stakes. These are not consumer gadgets. These are not software updates you push out on a Tuesday and patch on a Wednesday. These are Class 3 medical devices that go inside human bodies. The FDA does not care about your quarterly targets. The FDA does not care about your pivot strategy. The FDA cares about one thing: whether your quality management system is airtight, documented, validated, and maintained by people who know what they are doing. For 19 years, I was that person. My name is tied to 7 successful FDA inspections. My signature is on every design history file, every device master record, every CAPA procedure this company has ever submitted. When an FDA investigator walks through our front door, they ask for me by name, not by title. By name. That is not arrogance. That is 19 years of showing up, doing the work, and building something that does not bend when pressure is applied. The company was founded by Gerald Holt, a quiet engineer from Cincinnati who built Meridian from a 3-person operation in a converted warehouse into a $60 million medical device manufacturer. Gerald and I understood each other. He never once asked me to cut a corner. He never once asked me to rush a validation. We had disagreements, every partnership does, but he always deferred to the quality process because he understood, viscerally, what the alternative looked like. Gerald's son, Brandon, was a different species entirely. Brandon Holt was 34 years old when Gerald promoted him to Vice President of Operations 18 months ago. Brandon had an MBA from a school with a good football team and 3 years of experience at a tech startup in Austin that made project management software. He had never worked a day in a regulated industry. He had never seen a Form 483. He had never been in a room with an FDA investigator. He had never held a device that was going inside someone's chest and understood the weight of that responsibility. But he had watched a lot of TED Talks, and he had opinions. The first time I met Brandon formally, not at a company barbecue, not in the hallway, was at a leadership meeting in February. He walked in with a printed deck, 43 slides, titled Meridian 2, Agile Operations for a New Era. I read the title on the cover page and I felt something in my chest go quiet and careful, the way it does when you hear a sound you can't quite identify. His core argument was simple. Meridian was too slow, too process-heavy, too dependent on legacy systems and legacy thinking. He used the word legacy 17 times in 43 slides. I counted. He wasn't wrong that we were slow. Regulated industries are slow by design. Slow is the mechanism that keeps people from dying. He proposed collapsing the quality review cycle from 30 days to 5. He proposed migrating our entire electronic quality management system, the validated, FDA-audited platform that housed every document, every training record, every audit trail in this company, to a cloud platform his friend's startup had built. He proposed eliminating what he called redundant approval layers in the change control process. Every single one of those proposals, if implemented, would have shredded our ISO 13485 certification and invited an FDA warning letter. I said so, directly, professionally, with documentation. Brandon smiled the way people smile when they have already decided you are the obstacle and they are just waiting for the right moment to move you. The right moment came 8 weeks later. It was a Thursday morning. I was in the middle of a supplier qualification audit when my phone buzzed with a calendar invite from Human Resources. Subject line, discussion, quality systems restructuring. No agenda. 30 minutes. That afternoon, I finished the audit. I documented my findings. I sent my summary to the supplier. I walked into that HR meeting at 2 o'clock with my notebook and my pen and the particular stillness I have developed over 19 years of dealing with things I cannot control. Brandon was there. So was the HR director, a woman named Carla who had been at Meridian for 4 years and had the look of someone who had been handed a script she had not written. Brandon told me that Meridian was transitioning to a decentralized quality model. He told me my role was being restructured. He told me that going forward, quality oversight would be distributed across the operations team, with external consultants brought in as needed. Then he slid a folder across the table. Inside was a separation agreement. I looked at the folder. I looked at Brandon. I looked at Carla, who was looking at the table. I said, "Does Gerald know about this?" Brandon said, "My father has entrusted operations to me." I said, "That's not what I asked." He said, "We'd like to make this transition as smooth as possible. The package is generous." I picked up the folder. I put it in my bag. I said I would have my attorney review it. I thanked them for their time. I walked out of the building, got in my car, and sat in the parking lot for 11 minutes. Then I drove home. Here is what Brandon did not understand, and what I did not volunteer to explain. I was not just the quality systems director. I was Meridian's management representative to the FDA. That is a designated role. It is documented in our quality manual, which is a controlled document submitted to and acknowledged by the FDA. It is listed in our ISO 13485 certification, which is issued by our notified body. It is referenced in every regulatory submission this company has ever filed. You cannot make that role disappear by handing someone a separation agreement in a 30-minute meeting. When the management representative is removed from a company, that change must be reported. It triggers a review. And if there is no qualified replacement, no one with the credentials, the training records, the institutional knowledge to step into that role and demonstrate continuity to a federal auditor, the certification does not pause and wait for you to figure it out. It lapses. I had spent 19 years building a system so robust it could survive almost anything. I had built redundancy into every process, cross-trained 3 quality engineers, documented everything so thoroughly that a new hire could theoretically reconstruct our entire system from the records alone. But the management representative relationship with the FDA is not a process. It is a relationship. It is built on a history of interactions, on name recognition, on the credibility of a specific person's signature on specific documents over a specific period of time. You cannot hand that to a consultant on a Monday and expect it to hold on a Tuesday. I knew this. I had always known this. I had tried, over the years, to develop a deputy. Gerald had agreed it was important. The project had been deprioritized 3 budget cycles in a row. And now Brandon had removed the one person who knew where every body was buried, where every validation study lived, where every grandfathered procedure had its justification documented, without asking a single question about what would happen next. I spent that Thursday evening making a list, not of things I needed to do, a list of things that were already in motion, whether anyone at Meridian understood it or not. Our ISO 13485 recertification audit was scheduled for 6 weeks out. The notified body would arrive, request the management representative, and find a gap. Our 510 submission for the next generation monitoring device, 2 years of development, my signature on 47 sections, was in active review at FDA. Any change in the management representative designation during an active submission triggered a mandatory notification and a potential review hold. We had a customer audit scheduled with our largest hospital network account in 8 weeks. They would ask for quality system documentation and key personnel attestation. 6 weeks. That was how long before the first domino fell publicly. I did not call Gerald. I had worked for this company for 19 years, and I was not going to position myself as someone running to the father because the son had hurt my feelings. That was not who I was. If Gerald wanted to call me, he knew my number. On Friday morning, Brandon sent a company-wide email announcing a quality systems modernization initiative. He did not mention my name. He did not mention that the quality systems director position had been eliminated. He used the phrase exciting transformation twice. I read the email. I forwarded it to my personal account. I closed my laptop. I spent the weekend at home. I mowed the lawn. I cooked. I called my brother in Phoenix. I did not look at my phone more than necessary. On Monday, I received a call from my contact at the notified body, the certification body that manages our ISO 13485 registration. She had been alerted by a routine system check that our management representative designation had not been updated following what appeared to be a personnel change. She asked me to confirm my status. I told her, carefully and factually, that there had been a restructuring at Meridian and that my role had been eliminated. I told her I was no longer in a position to attest to the continuity of the quality management system. I told her I was not authorized to speak on behalf of Meridian in any official capacity. She thanked me and told me she would be contacting Meridian directly. I said that sounded appropriate. On Tuesday morning, I got a call from Carla in HR. She sounded like someone who had been awake since 4 in the morning. She said there were some questions about the quality certification. She said Brandon wanted to schedule a call. She said it was fairly urgent. I said I appreciated her reaching out. I said I would be available for a call at my attorney's office on Thursday at 10. On Wednesday, Gerald Holt called me directly. I had expected this call. I had not expected how tired he sounded. He said, "Marcus, I think I made a mistake." I said, "Gerald, I think you need to talk to your notified body before you and I have this conversation. Do you have their number?" He said Brandon had been handling it. He said the notified body had informed them that our ISO 13485 certification was under review for potential lapse due to an undocumented change in the management representative designation. He said the FDA had flagged our active 510 submission for a status inquiry following a third-party report of significant personnel changes. He said the hospital network had received an automated compliance alert from their vendor management system and was requesting an emergency call. He said all of this in the flat, stunned voice of a man watching something he built start to come apart. I said, "How much of the 510 review timeline have you already lost?" He said the FDA had issued a hold request that morning. I said, "In the hospital network?" He said they were threatening to pause our approved vendor status pending the compliance review. The hospital network represented 30% of Meridian's revenue. I said, "Gerald, I'll be honest with you. This is fixable. But it is not quickly fixable, and it is not fixable without me. The question is whether the conditions exist for me to come back." Gerald said, "Name them." I said I needed time to write them down properly. I said I would send him a letter by end of business Thursday. He said, "Marcus, we don't have." I said, "You have more time than you think you do. The certification hasn't lapsed yet. The FDA hold is a request, not a denial. The hospital network hasn't pulled their approval. Every one of these can be addressed, but not in a panic and not without a plan." He was quiet for a moment. He said, "Okay." I spent Thursday morning at my attorney's office. I had 4 conditions. First, my role would be reinstated with a revised title, Chief Quality Officer, and a seat on the executive leadership team with direct reporting to Gerald, not to Brandon or anyone in operations. Second, Brandon Holt would have no authority, direct or indirect, over the quality and regulatory affairs function. That boundary would be documented in the company's organizational chart and quality manual. Third, the quality management system modernization initiative would be halted immediately. Any future changes to the QMS would require my review and approval, with a formal impact assessment and regulatory risk analysis before implementation. Fourth, Meridian would fund the creation of a deputy management representative role with a qualified hire and a 12-month knowledge transfer plan within the first 90 days of my return. I sent the letter to Gerald at 4:30 Thursday afternoon. He signed back by 6. He also sent a separate note, just 3 sentences, that said he understood if I needed time to consider, that he was sorry for how this had been handled, that he hoped I would come back. I called him Friday morning and told him I would be in the office Monday at 8. What followed was 6 weeks of the hardest, most focused work I have done in my career. I filed the management representative update with the notified body within 48 hours of my return and provided the full documentation package they needed to close their review. I responded to the FDA's hold request on our 510 with a formal letter attesting to continuity of quality oversight, supported by 3 years of inspection history and a detailed personnel transition plan. I got on a call with the hospital network's vendor qualification team on my 3rd day back, walked them through our quality system status in real time, and answered every question they had. The approved vendor hold was lifted by end of that week. The ISO 13485 recertification audit went ahead on schedule. The notified body lead auditor shook my hand at the end of day 2 and said it was one of the cleaner audits she had conducted in the medical device space. The certification was renewed without a single major finding. The 510 hold was lifted 31 days after I filed my response. The submission went back into active review. The hospital network didn't just stay. Their procurement director sent Gerald a note saying our responsiveness during the compliance question had increased their confidence in Meridian as a long-term partner. Brandon Holt was moved to a newly created role called Director of Strategic Partnerships, which involved a lot of industry conference attendance and very little operational authority. This was not in my conditions. This was Gerald's decision. I did not ask about it. I did not comment on it. What I did do, about 3 months after I came back, was sit down with the new quality systems engineer we had hired to begin the deputy management representative track. Her name was Priya. She was 29 years old, sharp, meticulous, and had zero patience for shortcuts. She reminded me of myself at that age, before I had learned to be quiet about it. I told her the first thing she needed to understand was that quality is not a department. It is not a function. It is not a line on an org chart. It is the agreement a company makes with every person who will ever use its product, and it requires someone willing to be the most boring, most stubborn, most documentarian person in every room they walk into. She said, "Is that what you are?" I said, "I'm the reason this company still has its certification." She smiled and opened her notebook. That afternoon, I walked back to my office, sat down, and looked out the window at the parking lot where I had sat in my car for 11 minutes 6 months earlier. The same parking lot, the same Ohio sky going gray in the early winter light. I thought about those 6 weeks between the separation agreement and my return. I had mowed my lawn, I had called my brother, I had not panicked, had not called a lawyer in anger, had not sent emails I would regret, had not done any of the things you want to do. When someone takes 19 years of your work and hands it to a 34-year-old with a deck of slides and a vocabulary full of words like agile and transformation and legacy, I had waited. I had let the system do what systems do when someone removes the one thing holding them together. I had let federal regulation do the screaming. My phone buzzed. It was a calendar notification: FDA inspection readiness review, 2 weeks out. My name was on it. My team was ready. Every document was current. Every validation was closed. Every training record was signed. I accepted the meeting, closed my notebook, and went back to work.
Some days feel off, like I'm standing but still falling. A little pain, a little tired, and no one to tell it all to. There are days that feel unsteady, like I'm drifting out of place. Every step just feels so heavy, with a smile I have to fake. A little hurt I keep inside me, a little weight I always hide, and 1,000 quiet worries I've been holding deep inside. There's no one here to tell it to, no one who would understand. So I carry all these feelings like they're slipping through my hands. A little broken, little lost, trying hard to just get through. All these nights I stay awake with everything I never say to you. I keep walking through the silence like it's all I've ever known. Every crowded room reminds me how it feels to be alone. There's no one here to tell it to, no one who would understand. So I carry all these feelings like they're slipping through my hands. A little broken, little lost, trying hard to just get through. All these nights I stay awake with everything I never say to you. Maybe one day I'll be stronger, maybe I'll learn how to speak, but for now I keep it buried in the parts of me too weak. There's no one here to tell it to, no one who would understand. So I carry all these feelings like they're slipping through my hands. A little broken, little lost, trying hard to just get through. All these nights I stay awake with everything I never say to you. I'm freezing, a I'm bleeding, slowly fading away. But don't worry, I'm fine. The cold has settled in my heartbeat, like winter living in my veins. Every breath feels numb and fragile, every smile just hides the pain. I'm breaking quietly in silence, falling slow without a sound. Yet I keep saying I'm okay, while my world burns to the ground. I'm frozen here, I'm bleeding slowly, dying piece by piece inside. But I still whisper, it's alright, just to keep you from goodbye. I'm shattered, love, but don't you worry, I'll pretend till my last breath. Even while my soul is fading, I'll say everything's okay. Maybe pain just learned to live here, maybe sorrow feels like home. So I wear my wounds like armor and survive them all alone. I'm frozen here, I'm bleeding slowly, dying piece by piece inside. But I still whisper, it's alright, just to keep you from goodbye. I'm shattered, love, but don't you worry, I'll pretend till my last breath. Even while my soul is fading, I'll say everything's okay. If you ever see me smiling, no, it's just my last defense. 'Cause sometimes love means hiding how much you're suffering. No, I'm frozen here, I'm bleeding slowly, dying piece by piece inside. But I still whisper, it's alright, just to keep you from goodbye. I'm shattered, love, but don't you worry, I'll pretend till my last breath. Even while my soul is fading, I'll say everything's okay. It's okay.